Hello, my name is Stacey Samoe, currently a strategy and analytics lead, previously a senior data analyst, and of course a data analyst before that. And yeah, transitioned from a non-technical background, being a data analyst for slightly over 3 years now. And yeah, I just created this space somewhere where I just share my knowledge, my skills, my experience, and just guide you guys, or rather just let you know what I did and see if that is helpful. Like, how do I transition from a non-technical background to becoming a data analyst? Like, what do I know that helped me? How did I manage to grow to senior data analyst and eventually strategy and analytics lead in less than 3 years as someone who transitioned from a non-technical background? And the tool that I use, like the one thing that I have been eating, sleeping, drinking for the longest time is SQL. So, and hence SQL is something that I think as a data analyst, whether you just want to be a data analyst, you're looking to become a data science, or you're looking to become a data engineer, you'll interact with SQL. And this project, I'm just going to bring it all together. So if you've been learning SQL, whether via course, I still have some tutorials. So whether you're someone who's come from my tutorials, or you'll be doing some course somewhere or some tutorial somewhere, you just want to bring it all together, this is for you. So this is just something that's going to help you practice your SQL. We're going to make it very, uh, what is it called? Very real world ready. A lot of my previous projects have been very heavy on, like, yes, we answer questions, we talk about a bit about the business context, but for this one, we are going to really cover the business side enough, more than usual. So yeah, this is just good for you if you want to bring it all together. You really want to see how SQL is used on a day-to-day. And I actually think this is a very good project for you to use in your portfolio projects and maybe even present during interviews, because I know some companies let you do your own project and present, some send you a project and you're the one to do it. So still this would work either way, because you'd borrow some of the methodologies here if you're doing a project they've given you, a SQL project they've given you, and you could also use this as part of your portfolio and yeah, present it. And on that note, at the end, I'll also just show you how you can upload this onto your GitHub, non-programmatic method. So no, what is it called? No command line required. But if you want to learn the programmatic way to just push things onto your GitHub using Git, that's also something that I plan to like do a tutorial on. So yeah, stay tuned by subscribing. Anyway, so yeah, let's get into the video. So this is a beginner data analytics SQL project, and we are specifically doing the customer shopping trend analysis. And at the end of it all, as I mentioned, we are going to like upload this onto GitHub. So in this project, we sourced a customer sales trend data set from Kaggle, and we're going to be taking up the role of a customer analytics specialist hired by a large retail store. And the problem they're facing is they want to know when to stock, uh, what to stock and when to stock so that they can maximize sales, reduce lost sales, and minimize dead stock. So they essentially just want to maximize on their revenue. Like, what should they stock and when should they stock it? So, like, which items move fast when? So maybe certain sweaters move fast in May. They should have more of those in May. So meaning they should probably place the order just before May. So questions like that is like what we're going to answer. So anytime whether you're actually working or you're trying to just build your own project from scratch, always take time to understand like what problem are you trying to solve. Once you understand the problem that you're trying to solve, and in this case, it's probably a revenue issue because they want to maximize sales, reduce lost sales, and minimize dead stock. So they want you to help them build a data-driven strategy to guide their smart stocking. So you need to understand the problem very well. Once you understand the problem very well, and you also, the data might be provided for you, probably not in the real world. So it's like once you understand the problem, you actually need to go into the database in the real world and look at the data points that are there, and you'll be the one to actually build the data set. It will not be provided for you the way this data set has been provided for you. 1 minute. We can continue. So you would actually have to source the data yourself. And that's something that I'm also going to show you guys with time, like whether you're going to web scrape and just like source data yourself is something we'll cover later on in this channel. So once you understand the problem, you need to define questions slash plan your analysis. So you're like, okay, the problem here is there's a lot of dead stock, there's a lot of lost sales. Like, how, like, first of all, how do you even know the problem is there's a lot of dead stock, there's a lot of lost sales? Like, it's probably you're getting feedback from the team. So one thing I also believe about like being a good technical person, like you might not really need to interact with uh people, like the actual people, depending on like your level and how big the company is. But I would recommend like you spend as much time as possible with like the team that you're serving. So if you're serving the sales team, ask them questions. If you're serving the operations team, ask them questions. If you're serving the marketing, growth, product, like ask questions, get as much context about like their problem they're facing, or rather the gaps they have. So yeah. So once you have a very good idea of like what the problem is, in this case, I've defined the problem for you. But most of the time, someone will just tell you something high level like, we want to increase revenue. Go and figure out how we should be able to increase revenue. So be prepared for that. So once we've already identified the problem in this case is there's a lot of dead stock, there's a lot of what is it called? There's a lot of lost sales, and we just want to minimize that so that we maximize sales and hence revenue. So once you know that, you need to define your questions. So you need to define your questions, and then you need to check the data sets that you have. Like in the case that maybe this company has like predefined data points, yeah, are those enough? Do you need to do some feature engineering? Do you need to collect a bit more data? You need to think about that. So once that is done, now we get into the questions. So the questions that I came up with that we're probably going to address all or just some of them, because I want to leave some of them for you guys to actually address yourself. And then do let me know in the comment below, like, how did you do it? You can find me either in the comments or you can find me on LinkedIn and we just have a chat. Yeah. And I'll just tell you like variations of like other questions you could try. Yeah. So in this case, we want to know how many unique customers have visited the store during the time period provided. So the time period provided is going to be like the data set that we're using from Kaggle. So this will just give us an idea of like the sample size that we're working with. And then we also want to know, should the store stock more of male or female clothing? So like that's the first indicator. If we find out that there are more men than women who shop here, why are we shopping 50-50 for both genders? Or why are we bringing in more female clothing? Maybe there's just a hypothesis, so we feel like females shop more, but maybe your data tells you, no, 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 in this case, you have more males, so you need to purchase more male clothes, yeah? And then what seasons are represented in the data? Where I come from, we don't have seasons, so I'm just going to display that. So we have the seasons. If there are four, which ones? And then what we want to know is like, what are the most purchased categories and let me say and or items, because this is how I'm just going to do items. So what are the most purchased categories and or items by season? So if we know sweaters are bought more in, I don't know, just before winter, that means around summer, you don't need to be shipping in or making or stocking your sweaters. You can stock more of something else and start shipping in sweaters at this point. And then even how many sweaters should you be shipping in? Our data is going to help us answer that question. And then what are the most popular item colors by season? So like I'll come into your store in a certain season and I want this sweater. And then I want it in red or maroon, and maybe many people want it in. So when I come to your shop and I don't find it in maroon, I leave, I go to another shop. So like we can also not just guide them on what to order when, this case when is which season, but we can also guide them on which colors are the most popular so that we don't have people walking out to go and to go look for other that particular thing, but in another color. And then should the stocking strategy vary by location? So we're going to look at the most popular items by season, but we also need to be like, okay, it's popular by season, but is it true across various locations? Should various locations have a different smart stocking strategy? And then which locations are the top performing in terms of customer experience? So here we have a column I need to show you the data. Okay, we'll go look at the data set after this, but there's a column for like customers rating. So yeah, we'll just take an average and just see which locations have the highest ratings from customers. And yeah, like people could go and benchmark, people from location A can go and benchmark location B if location B has such a high rating from customers, and just learn like what do they do differently that we're not doing, and start implementing that like with a hope and aim to just improve customer experience. And then does having more than 10 previous purchases correlate with higher total spend? So this is just more of like if they want to come up with like let's say a loyalty program, they want to offer some discounts, etc. Who should it be to? Should it be to everyone? Should it be to a specific segment? Or maybe it's not something that is viable. So maybe there's a hypothesis after you talk to the team, and the team feels like, oh, if you have more than 10, if you purchase more than 10 items in your previous purchase, like they're likely to come back and spend a lot. We need to check that. We need to check if that is true or not. So yeah, I hope this context is very helpful to just try and explain like why am I answering this question, so that in the case that you decide to use this as a portfolio project and you need to defend it, like you just have an idea of my thought process. But then again, this is my thought process. So feel free to change it totally, modify it. You don't really need to like say it the way I've said it. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch to our data, which is in MySQL. Okay, so we have our data here. So select all from shopping trends dot shopping trends updated. And these are the various columns that we're going to be working with. So we have customer ID, age, gender, item purchase category, purchase amount, location, size, color, season, among so many other columns. And yeah, so as you can see, we're using MySQL. If you're not familiar with MySQL, it's totally okay. You can honestly use Postgres or SQLite, like whatever you want to use. There might be some slight difference in syntax. You could always just ask Google, put it on ChatGPT and tell me, be like, oh, this is the syntax for MySQL. How do I write this in Postgres or whatever SQL you're using? But if you'd want to use MySQL as you follow along, I'm going to link down below a tutorial that will just help you download MySQL into your dataset. And I'm also going to link another tutorial that's going to help you upload your dataset onto MySQL, and then you can follow along on this project. Otherwise, guys, we are finally ready to dip into this project. Maybe the only thing I'd want to know is like, give me feedback. Like, do you prefer when I just jump right into the sequel, or do you like the context? Like my previous video, I gave some context, but it was not as long as this one. So maybe I should also get better at shortening the context. And like it's really been received well by you guys. But I just want to like look at the numbers. I also just want your feedback. But minus that, guys, let's get into it. So I put this syntax here because I always forget this syntax because I use Postgres a lot in my 9 to 5. And with Postgres, there's a function that does this for you. You don't have to do a sum and a case state, a sum, an aggregate function and a sum as one. Like there's a function you can use. So I always forget this, but I put it here because we're going to use it. But anyway, let's get to the first question. How many unique customers have visited the store during the time period provided? So this one we're going to do as we're going to use an aggregate function. So count. So select count. We can use customer ID or you can use all. But in this case, like, okay, you can do select count or as total customers. So let's run that. So we have a total, this is saying we have a total of 3,900, yeah? Or you can do select count instead of using, this is the next project we're doing, a telco churn analysis, and we're going to do it in SQL and Power BI. Where is this one? Yeah, shopping trends. Okay, so instead of selecting all, you can also do select count customer ID. Yeah. So this is better because the all is heavier. So it says 3,900. Now the thing is with this is we don't know, like what if there's someone who purchased twice? So the ID is duplicated. So you can do select distinct customer ID to just make sure, yes, so this is correct. And I'm doing that because this is a data set we got of Kaggle and we don't know it so well. But if you like, the more you work at a place, you'll understand your table. You know the ones that have duplicates, you know the ones that don't. And like in your pre-processing, your data cleaning, you'd ideally get rid of the data sets. So you'd know not when you need to use distinct, or you could actually avoid using distinct because it's actually a very heavy function. But yeah, so we've answered the first question. We have a total of 3,900 customers in this time period. Now the next question. Should we stock more male or female clothing? So we're going to use this still because we want to count. So select count distinct. Now here it's counting for us all 3,900, yeah? But we want it to count, but split it by the gender, yeah? So in this case, anyone guess why I've gotten the error? When you're working with an aggregate function and an aggregate function, you have to group by. So meaning you need to like show how the data should be. So we've counted ahead. So after we count, what do we do with the gender? So you can either do group by one, or you can literally write group by gender. So it's going to do a count and split. So as you can see, interesting. I actually didn't know this. In this particular store, we have more male than female, more male than female, more male than female customers. Now imagine if in this case the store is like, okay, if I bring in 50 sweaters for males, let's also bring 50 sweaters for female. That should not be the case. It should be split by the percentage of the people, of the genders, yeah? So the next thing we're going to do is like, let's have this represented as a percentage, yeah? And we're going to use a CTE. So a CTE is a temporary table, yeah? So we'll do, it uses with clause with data as. So name them better. Don't be like me, because why data? You could just say with the gender data as, and then select all from data. So what the CT is basically doing is it's calling everything that's in this temporary table, which we're calling data. So if there's anything I'm using here that you're not familiar with, like don't worry, I have a tutorial, just like dedicated tutorials for like beginner, intermediate, advanced SQL. So if you're not familiar with CTEs, you can go and check it out. If you're not familiar with group by count, I'm going to link my, what are they called? I'm going to link my SQL tutorial at the end of this video. So you can just go see what's inside and see what's relevant for you. Yeah. So if you want to get the percentage for this, what we are going to do here is we are going to now go back to this because we want to do a sum case when, then else, then divide by total earnings. Hmm. But total earnings. Yeah, so it will be total customers. Okay, so let me just bring this up because I want it to be. So we'll do sum case when gender is equals to female, then then total customers, else zero end. So what it's going to do is it's going to check if Oh, I didn't put the gender. If the gender is equals to female, it's going to get the total earnings. Else, zero. So if the female gender does not exist, it will be zero. So once it does this, now what we want to do is we want to divide it by the total number of customers. So when you divide it by total number of customers, then we're going to name this as percent female. Yeah. Female. Yeah. So let's actually try this out first, and then we see if it works. Uh, in what did it say? In aggregate query, go by expression. Okay. Oops. I should not have gotten rid of the error before I understood it. Okay. So it's treating this as an aggregate, and then this is not an aggregate. So we also need to aggregate this. So let's do that. Let's do that and see. Yay! So 32% is female. So something else we can also do is just sum total customers. So even if total customers is already aggregated there, like when you bring it down, you need to re-aggregate it. Or else you need to introduce a group by whenever you're dealing with an aggregating and an aggregate function. And then in this case, now we want to do male. So I'm just going to highlight, oops, it wants me to highlight the whole thing. Just going to highlight this, and I want to do a select all because I want to get the spelling of male exactly as it is. That can be another source of error. Like you can get an error and then you're there like, oh my, like what is this? Like I don't deserve to be a data analyst. Like I'm just bad at this. Like, imposter syndrome can get the best of you when you get an error. And then only for you to check and realize, oh, it was just that I used a lowercase m instead of an uppercase m. So yeah, I like to copy paste to just make sure it's there exactly as it is. So yeah, to just make this a bit cleaner because we're calling it percent female. So we actually want to do this times 100. So we do this times 100. Okay. Let's round that. So it's 32, and then we can also round. So we can put the round function here. So we want to round it to 2 decimal places. We want to round it to 2 decimal places. Yeah, so 32% are female, 68% are male. Oh, I didn't rename. So here, 32% are female, the rest are male. Yeah, and this, yeah, so we can summarize here. So actually, let me just put it very close. So 32% are female and 68% are male. So what this tells me is chances are very high for almost all the items this company is looking to purchase. Like majority should be male over female items. But we're also going to check that assumption by like most popular product. So we actually verify like, is it true for just some product even items, even if it's just majority of items, like which items should we have more of like the male clothing or whatever category over the other. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll get back to that. But what we want to do is like what seasons are represented in the data. Yeah. So we're going to do something very similar to what we did initially. So like select distinct. So instead of account, we're just going to do select distinct. Did I? Yeah, select distinct seasons. Okay, so select distinct seasons. You can run that. And we have summer, winter. Okay, let me do this first. So we have winter, spring, and summer. So I want to put them in quotes first. So if I want to use them, I just use them with ease. Then I comment out. So those are the seasons represented, yeah? So what is the most popular category and item by season? So here we are going to, let's again get our select all from. Okay, so we're going to, okay, but we can just leave here. Okay, so let's call the whole data set again. Then you have the columns here, so you honestly don't have to. And we want to know the most, we want to know the most purchased categories and items by season. So let's do items, yeah? So, oops, items purchased. And then we were going to do a count customer ID as total. Let me just say count of items. Okay. Oops. Guess what I forgot again? So group by one. So you can either actually say group by item purchased or group by the location. And like doing a group by mm, hmm, yeah, customer ID. Mm, Start recognizing the column. Oh, so I just checked here syntax error and yeah, customer ID. And like it's a SQL rule, like your columns should not have spaces. And then a column name also cannot start with a number. So customer ID had a space, and I was like, yeah, that's where the problem is. And yeah, these two small things, I talk about them like in my sit down videos. I got rid of all of them. I'm starting afresh. I'm going to start talking about them on like YouTube Reels, Instagram Shorts, LinkedIn. I don't know if I'll put videos in LinkedIn, probably not. I don't know. But yeah, if you want to just know these two nitty-gritties, random facts, rules about SQL, yeah, feel free to subscribe. Those are some of the things I talk about. But yeah, let's run this now. There. Oh, yeah. So we have items purchased by count of purchased, yeah. So we want to order by two. So that's count of items. And then descending from the highest to the lowest, yeah. So we rerun this. And yeah, so we can see blouse, pants, jewelry. Those are the top three items, and then followed by shirts, then dresses, then sweaters. So yeah, so we want to know if this is true by season. So there are two ways we could do this, yeah? You can actually utilize this. So like we have this. So item purchased, and then we add season and we do something like this. Yeah. So we create a CTE and then we specify the condition. So it will be like count. Okay, this one was it sum. Yeah, this is sum. Case when season is equals to this, like total items purchased, yeah? Or we could do it like one by one. So like one by one, we'd use the where clause, yeah? So in this case, we'll be select from, and then we'll be like where season is winter. So the most popular item generally is a blouse, but let's see, is it true? So come winter, it's sunglasses followed by pants, yeah? And then come spring. So let me just write it here. Winter. Spring. So this is a beginner, what is it called? This is a beginner project. So I'm going to keep it simple. Also, I need to write spring. I'm going to keep it simple. But if you'd like to know, like if you'd want me to do this, which would be like to do something like this to give you this result so you don't have to do it one by one, do let me know. I'll probably just write the code and like reply it on the comment. Yeah, I'll reply it on the comment for whoever asks for it, but I'll also just add it on the documentation. Yeah, so you have both options. Yeah, so I might, as I upload, I will not have added it, but I can add it later on. And maybe it will also be nice for me to just update how you can like version control. Like you had this version and now we're adding something different like later on. But yeah, so here it's sweater, shorts, and blouse. And then the next season we're going to pick is summer. Summertime. So pants, dresses, and jewelry. And we are going to go for our last season, which is fall. The fall, it's jacket, hat, handbag, and skirts. Okay. So yeah, for sure, like there are things here that you'd ideally, is there anything that would be stocked all through the year? I'm not seeing. So it's like shirts and shirts. So jewelry. I thought jewelry appeared in two seasons. It's just one season. I'm not saying anything that's duplicated, but yeah, ideally the store should be maximizing on this. So like just before winter, make sure you're stocked on your glasses, pants, and shirts. And if you could get like further breakdown of like this sunglasses, pants, and shirts. So it's like which brand, which yeah, I'd say which brand, which color, etc. is like the most frequent. So you can go deeper and be like, oh yeah, so come winter, make sure you stock this and this. And then you can even show them like last, so like let me use like last fall, a total of 54 jackets were purchased. So for sure, if you still have like from the previous stock, maybe you still have like 10. So add like another 50 to just give a buffer. People might buy 50 and they might buy slightly more, slightly less. If you're planning some sales campaign, like have that buffer. So yeah, I hope you get the idea of like how this, like how as a data analyst, your insights, like the trends you find into the data is very important for a business. Because I imagine if in fall you're there stocking let's say jewelry or dresses and they're not bought as much. Like you could still stock them, but very little. So you can look at the number and literally write a deep report to advise on how each item should be stocked. And then you can break this further by color, by specific brand, by gender. So it's like jackets, female or male, hats, female or male, or even brand or item code. Because now with code, it should be like just this item code moves a lot, regardless of whether it's like female or male, it's that thing. Yeah. So that's just a tip of how you could go further with this. So yeah, let's take a look at the other question. So what are the most popular item colors by season? Yeah. So I'm going to pick one and just show you. And but ideally, I would have wanted. Actually, no, I'm going to leave this one to you people. Like, I want to challenge you to just go answer this question. If you have any questions for me on how you should do it, get me on comments, get me on LinkedIn. Okay. I'm going to leave it to you. So, ideally, when you're uploading this onto your GitHub, I want to see how you tackle this question, your insight, etc. And yeah, reach out to me if you want, if you'd like support. So, the last two questions. Should stocking strategy vary by store location? So, we're going to use this last one since we already have here. So, we don't need to put the numbers, but I'm just going to put the numbers. Purchased 48, 64. Okay. So, generally, what should be stocked in fall is like jacket, like jacket should be the highest, followed by hats, bags, and skirts, yeah. But we want to check if this is true across location. So we're going to put this here, across location, yeah. And what I want to do is I just want to get this, and I'm just going to pick so we'll have this so we can just do step one, most most location. Yeah, so we need to get the most popular location. And how do we do that? We get, oh, my touchpad can act up on me. No. Off. And why? It's just there finally. So location, and then we're just going to do a count of, actually we already have it here. So let me just copy paste. And then don't forget to put your group by 1K. And then actually let me just do it randomly. Yeah. So the locations that we are going to work with. So let's take Rhode Island. Hmm. 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 Let's see, Montana and Rhode Island. Hope I'm pronouncing it well. So this one has 63. And then Montana had 96 purchases. Kentucky had 79. And then we need them in quotes. So I'm just going to maybe do the lowest and the highest that I selected randomly. So it's not necessarily the lowest, highest. You'd have to do an order by, yeah? So if we do where season is equals to 4 and location is equals to Montana, do we still get the same recommendation? So we can see no. In Montana, it's bags followed by sweaters and t-shirts in the fall. So clearly the stocking strategy is not the same across all locations. So we're doing a lot of one by one, a lot of single things, but ideally in the real world, like as a data analyst, you'd automate this report. So it's not like, let's say you're not coming as a specialist or like you're a specialist who's actually hired. It's not like you'll have to rewrite this all the time. You can actually just try and nest and put as many things. So like we'd find a better way to build a table that populates like most popular items purchased by season by location. And the end users have to just to keep refreshing. Like a lot of these things will be like one off. So I know I'm doing it one by one, but it's because it's like beginner level, but we can sit down we, as much as it's just me, but we can sit down and like figure out how to like nest it and be like, how can we write one long big piece of query that answers as many of these questions as possible in one place? And it's not like you have to go to like because you see with every query, you'd actually have like if it's in Postgres, like you're opening query one, save it as most purchased items in fall in Montana, query two in summer in Montana. No, 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 no. We can big one build SQL that can do that for us. And then you can just use like date filters to be like group it by month, we see the trend, and then you can limit it to like the last 6 months or the last 12 months. Like data is fun, data is cool. And now that I'm here, mumbling a lot to my computer, but in doing sense to you people, I'm just thinking I need to also demonstrate how you would build like a dynamic data set that can auto update and like end users feed on that. But don't worry too much about these things. These are just things I'm just letting you know in case they pop up in an interview. But for beginner level, no, chances are high no one will be asking you this, but it's still good to know. Anyway, so yeah, so you do a lot of this. So let me put there in for in Montana, uh, most popular items are handbag, sweater, and t-shirt. Okay. So, which locations are top performing in terms of customer experience? So let's get our original data set here. Okay, which most popular items? Here we go. So yes, each location should have a different stocking strategy. Okay, and I didn't sell. Oh, okay, so we're selecting all from shopping trends. Okay, so this one is going to be a quick one. because we're just going to do an average of that metric and we view it by location. So actually we can just get this whole thing and then can put it here. Now the only thing is instead of account, we're going to do an average and we want an average of reviews. Yeah. So we want an average of reviews, review rating there. So this one, average ratings. Okay, so we run that. Ooh, we need to do some cleaning. And then we should do it order by to descending because we want to know the people who have the highest rating. So that's Texas, Wisconsin, and then there's okay, but the ratings are about the same. Okay, there's someone who has 3.9. So like what are they doing differently from who are like 3.5, 3.6? Like should these locations come and shadow locations that are like approaching for like 3.9, 3.2, find out what they're doing and they start like imitating that because chances are high people with higher reviews make more sales, whether it's in terms of counts and money or just in terms of money. Like, what can you do? Money in terms of revenue. So, like, that's also another way to just maximize sales. So, like, if there's certain locations that are doing well, try and bring that approach to like other locations that are not that okay and see if that works in terms of increasing sales. So, this is very messy. What we're going to do is we're going to use the round function and we're going to round it to 2 decimal places and that's cleaner. So I can say locations such as have ratings above 3.89. Let's say 3.88 and hence other locations can borrow and learn from there from processes in those locations. Okay. Okay, so does having more than 10 previous purchases correlate with higher total spend? I'm tempted to like let you guys do this, but let's just do it. So we can actually just mhm. And in this case, we've defined high. So where's the previous previous purchased? So it will be like so we can just break it down into two, but you could do more than two. So it's like case when uh, previous purchases is greater than or equals to 10, then many else. Why don't we just say more than 10? I'm looking for the purchase amount. And this one will be a sum. Okay, so people who made more than 10 purchases, yeah, they end up spending more when they come next. So in case marketing wants to do some campaigns to just encourage people to come and give them discounts. Yeah. If you decide you want to do it for the whole company, you just do your modeling, you do your calculations. If you want to decide you only want to target a specific segment, you could decide like the criteria for you to qualify for this discount is you have to have made more than X number of purchases. So it could be 10, it could be 15, it could be 5, but yeah, clearly we can see from the data that people who it's like maybe it's just a big family. So every time they come, it's a family of 5 and they'll always buy a lot of things. And maybe me, I'm a family of 1 or a family of 2. So when I come, I'm just buying for 2. So it's like if there's a specific client who tends to buy like this, it's not like a one-off. When they come back, they tend to do that. So yeah, you give that information to marketing or whatever function, and you give some of your ideas and get to learn from them because as people who've been in that domain, they would know what to do with that information. But it's also an opportunity for you to learn so that you're not just a data analyst who crunches number, you're a data analyst who actually is also a thought partner when it comes to actioning the insights that you found. So yeah, we can say yes. Yes. Customers who made higher number of purchases previously maintain 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 the trend of higher purchases when they return. They would be a good segment to target with any campaigns, with any campaigns, campaigns, any campaign. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we've done, that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to select all this and I'm going to put it on ChatGPT and I'm going to tell ChatGPT, please summarize for me this, and then we see what ChatGPT comes. Uh, Please summarize for me insights from this analysis. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. Oh, I know you can't see my screen. Okay, so I am going to get this. Okay, so now let's switch to back to the document. Okay, so this is how we had scoped out our document. So I'm just going to add a tab and then I'm going to paste what ChatGPT has told us. So this is a summary of our findings. So a total of 3,900 unique customers visited the store during the period analyzed. 68% of the customers are male and 32 are female. Inventory should skew towards male preferred categories, but female preferences remain a significant minority. Sales trends and stocking guidance, distinct season captured winter, spring, summer, fall. Most purchased items by season, so fall, we have the list implication. Tailor stocking to seasonal demand with an emphasis on top selling categories. Stocking vary by location. Location-based analysis, e.g. Montana, shows that different seasonal item preferences. So in fall, Montana customers preferred bags, sweaters, t-shirts, differed from national trends recommendation. Implement localized stocking strategies by analyzing sales patterns at each store. So top locations for customer experience. So Texas and Wisconsin, if I pronounce that well, report the highest average review rates. So that's that recommendation. Learn from operational practices in highly rated, just high rated locations and replicate best practices elsewhere. So high value customers equals to repeat customers. So customers with 10 plus previous purchases consistently spend more than others. Recommendation: target this group with loyalty campaigns and personalized offers to maximize revenue and retention. So yeah, guys, we've come to the end of this. I really hope like you've learned something right from practicing your SQL, like how an actual day in the life of a data analyst in terms of like sales analytics or customer analytics would look like. And yeah, the last thing I'm just going to show you people is how do you get your project onto MySQL. So let me just stop sharing my screen because I'm sharing a window. Then I share my entire screen and then I show you guys how to upload all this info on what is it called? On GitHub, so that if you're using this as a portfolio project, like you can have that posted on GitHub, you link it on your LinkedIn, link it on your CV, and yeah, you can share with the recruiters like, yo, check out this project that I've done. I'm very good at SQL and I also understand like business processes and I align my analysis with business. It's just about writing code. Okay, so this is my GitHub. If you don't have GitHub, just come and be like GitHub sign sign up, and you can create an account the same way you just create your Instagram, LinkedIn account. Follow the steps, sign up. If you already have one, just come to your GitHub account. This was the last project I uploaded. Feel free to check it out. Doesn't it have a description? Yeah, I'll look into that. And yeah, come. Oh yeah, so I'm on the profile. So you can just come and click profile and we're at the same place. Then come here and then click on create new repository. A repository, think of a repository as a file or a folder. So in this case, we are going to call this repository customer shopping trends. So I want to call it customer shopping trends. Okay, same thing. So it's going to give it its own name because you're not supposed to have spaces, and we're just going to follow best practice while coding lowercase, keeping everything lowercase. Yep. So there, we created a repository. We're going to make it public, and there you go. You have your repository. So the first thing we're going to do is going to create a README. Think of a README like executive summary. So when someone comes here, the first thing they're going to look at is your README to just give them idea of like what's your project about, like what did you use. And then so here, customer shopping trends. So README uses Markdown. So like now if I do double, it will be smaller. So like the less the hashtags, the smaller. So if you click on preview, this is what will happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our documents and we're going to we're going to do that. We're going to bring that. And then we're just going to get rid of this because we don't really care about that. So this is the title. So customer shopping trend analysis. So this is like a heading 2. And then this is like a heading 3. Then we don't need this, but I'd want to number those. So let me just clean that up. I was thinking about something different when I was developing this. And then, okay. So if we preview, how does this look? How does this look? Okay, this is messy. So we come back here and we give each question. So it's easy for someone to read. I would not want to read in the state it was because it's so hard to just figure out what's going on. So we clean this. I hope I pressed record. And then I talk to myself like this and I realize, oh, I was not recording. Okay. Please feel free to fast forward here. Okay, so this should be better. Okay, phase one, phase two, summary and findings. So we're just going to get this summary and findings, the one that ChatGPT did for us. And we're just going to input it as is. Yeah, feel free to refine. As I mentioned, ChatGPT did it for us. I literally just put all my rough work and I was like, ChatGPT, please summarize this for me. So customer overview. So, okay, let's look at how it looks before we clean it up. So yeah, not very easy to read. So we come and utilize Markdown so we want this smaller. So we're going to put 3 because it's like heading 3 or heading 2 if the other one is a topic. 1, 2, 3. Is there anything else? Yes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's see. Should we leave the spacing or not? Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, I'm sure there's a way I can, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this one by one. You know how in Word document you just highlight and you give it like bullets. So I want to do something like that. Yeah, so I'm going to figure out how to do that because I don't want to do it one by one. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to clean this up, but I'm going to push it like this for the purposes of this project. So feel free to clean this up and make it look more attractive in the end and you commit changes. So committing changes is just saving the changes that you've made. So you're committing it onto GitHub. And now if you come to our repository, this is what we see. Yeah. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add other files. So in this case, the only file we actually need to add is our SQL. And then, our SQL and the data set. So let's add oh, it, oh, mm, upload and to create. So I'm loading the data set here, but I'm still going to link the, I'm going to put the link to Kaggle. So in case you just want more information about this data set, so you can commit there. So it's there. You can get it from here, but I'll still link where I got it on Kaggle, like in the down below. And then we still want to add another file. So we still want to do an upload. So this is the SQL code. I've uploaded it as it is, very messy, so you can clean it up. I can make this very presentable. Yeah. Okay, and then we can commit the changes and voila, that's it. So now if you just come and get this link and you put it on your CV, you put it on your LinkedIn. Like whoever is reviewing your LinkedIn or your CV should be able to have access to it. And yeah, another question some of you could have is like, okay, how do I put it on my CV? Have done it before, like when I had no experience. I'd talk a bit about the project and then I link it. So I'll be like, oh yeah, so I did this analysis. These are the tools I used. These are the recommendations I came up with. So yeah, I think I actually don't need to get set up in terms of like starting out my background, getting a camera, etc. to just show you guys how you could write your CV. Like it's something I can just do on screen recording. So yeah, let me think about that and plan to actually show you guys how you can write your CV because I don't, yeah, it's not like a sit down video. It's more of like, yeah, I could do a screen recording or maybe it would be better as a sit down video. So like I'm talking and then the CV comes on, is edited onto the screen and there's a voiceover. I really don't know. I'm going to figure that out, but yeah, that's something I'm definitely planning to do. But otherwise, guys, that is the end of this project. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Thank you for the support that you provide. Like, I don't take it for granted. I started this channel thinking that it's just about me giving back, me sharing this knowledge. But the interesting thing is, every day I get myself up and I'm like, I'm doing a project, I'm doing a tutorial, I'm doing this. Like, it's challenging me to just become better at what I do. Better at Power BI, better at SQL. I think guys have also noticed like my dashboards are improving. You're not the only guys learning here. So I'm getting better at Power BI, better at SQL. I'm challenging myself to like take up all these courses, take up all these projects, like just for fun at work so that I learn all these things and I pass it on to you. So in short, I'm learning just as much as you people. And it's just something that I appreciate that I have this community asking me these questions, things that I would have never thought about. I'm becoming a better communicator and it's something that I'm very grateful about. But yeah, just thank you for staying till the end. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for choosing to learn from me. And yeah, do let me know down in the comments below if there's something specific that you'd want to see me do more of. I know I've been saying about sit down videos, but you guys, like, as I mentioned, the last time I was here, like consistently, no, when I first created this channel, I was a data analyst. And then I disappeared. And then I came back as a senior data analyst. Then I disappeared. And then I've come back as a strategy and analytics lead. So you see the trend, yeah? But one thing I'm really challenging myself to do is, even if it means I'm only doing one video per week, which translates to 4 videos in a month, and worst case scenario, kenda mbaya, like I'm just doing like 2 to 3 videos in a month. I'd rather consistently show up with not too much volume than disappear. So one thing I'm really working on is not to disappear again. But good thing is I have a decent number of videos for you people. So even when I disappear, there's something you guys can look into. But still, I'm committing to, even if I reduce frequency, I need to keep showing up here. It's good for me and it's also good for you. And you've chosen to choose me as your learning partner. I'm not going to take that for granted. Otherwise, guys, see you in the next one. Bye bye.